Hi guys, so this week ended the month of July and my fourth month learning to trade penny stocks on the US market with a small $300 account. So this was my first red month on the market. I'm still in profit overall, but I closed the month about $14 down. What happened this month is I was trying to focus on my prime setups, but they weren't really in play so much. So I tried to adapt, play more day one gappers, which I'm not very good at. So I found it a really tough month. I'm pleased to say I did make 30% on a third day surge setup this week, which is one of my prime setups. So it was a really welcomed win, especially after such a tough month of trading. So going to go into the chart and analyse the trade. So the ticker was VWAV, and this was a third day surge setup. So where stocks had a big run up and kind of consolidated on day two and then looking for a day three surge. So this stock had gone from around about 230 up to 1260, and it's moved on high volume, 254 mil in volume, and it was up 450% on the day. That was its highs, and it held its gains nicely as well, which is important. So what I'm looking for then is this big run up on day one. This is the intraday chart over here. And then, as I say, just kind of nice consolidation on day two, where it's still not dropping so much like down here. It's still sort of holding those gains of day one. And then looking for volume to come in on day three, where shorts can get squeezed because they've sized in to short the stock on day one according to volume. The drop in volume on day two, they can't cover without affecting the price. So on day three, when volume comes in, you can get this surge. So this was a prime setup, and I'm starting to identify these quite clearly now, just visually. I can kind of see, this is looking like, a really good candidate for a third day surge. And these haven't been in play recently at all. Actually, this is the first one that's kind of reignited it. And that can cause a bit of hesitancy as to whether I take this trade. I tried a third day surge the other week, which wasn't prime, and, it didn't work out. This one, it was prime 100%, and as I said, they've not been in play, but for me it was like, well, if I can get good risk reward, it's definitely worth having a go at this. So this is the run up on day one, consolidation here on day two, and then this is the day that I played it for third day surge. So I'm looking to get in as close to the previous day's low of day, and that is where I'm going to risk off. So if I zoom in a little bit, low of day is around 684, somewhere like that. So I was risking up around 682. And this is pre-market on the day of day three. And you can see it was this is the red-green area, so where it starts to go above yesterday's close. And it came down below there and was approaching the previous day's low of day. So that was my entry point, and I got in actually a little bit higher than I would have liked, 710. Yeah, around there, risking off the 682, and only put initially $35 on this because I kind of wanted to add to it. But what happened, really shortly after I bought it, was it broke that risk, and it broke it quite significantly. So from 682 went down to 625, and I automatically cut the trade and managed to get out at 641, which is 10% loss there, which is not good. But yeah, I probably could have waited for it to maybe recover a little bit and then sell. But for me, I didn't want to take the chance. I was like, what, if it's just dumps, I don't want to be stuck in it. I just need to get out. So took a bit of a hit there, unfortunately. And normally I probably could have wrote it off on that point because it broke yesterday's low of day, which kind of breaks the thesis because it should hold there, and it broke it so significantly. However, I've been quite in tune with what's been going on in the market, and I did a video on a similar setup, ABVE. If I just jump to this chart, this was setting up for a first green day bounce setup, which I traded, and I got stopped out on the trade, and it was a really similar setup. And this was the day I played it pre-market, risking off the previous day's low of day, and it broke that risk pretty significantly, as you can see. And from that, I wrote off the trade. I cut, kind of didn't want to look at it. The trade was done for me. And what it did is it reclaimed that risk, and then it went on to have the move that I was expecting it to do. And that was so gutting to have, had that on my radar. I've entered at a good price, and then I've got stopped out, and then it's gone and ripped without me. So that was really fresh in my brain of, hang on, these setups, they're not behaving as they typically would. And this was a prime setup here, and that's what it did. So I had that in my mind when I was looking at VWAV. If this breaks yesterday's low of day, it could very well reclaim, and then I'm going to re-enter. So that's what I did. As you can see, it tried to reclaim there, and then I managed to get back in, and then it broke again, and then it reclaimed. I got back in there around 6.98, and because it was reclaiming, I had a bit more conviction in the setup. So I put a little bit more on, and I put on $55. Ideally, if this had just gone according to plan and held yesterday's low of day, I would have got in at a price, I would have added to it, and I would have probably put on close to $100 on this trade, because it was a prime setup. But because it had behaved in this strange way and I'd already been stopped out, $55 was kind of where I was happy with. So yeah, I kind of had to downsize on it. So yeah, got in at 6.98, bought it a couple of times, so yeah, around about there. And then my risk became this low here, which was 6.47, which is a really tricky one to play, because really now this should be the risk level, but that was too wide of a risk for me to take. Or, you could have waited to see if it crossed the red-green level, got in there and played it a bit more safely. But I decided to take it down here and then just risk off this level, which, as I said, it's not ideal. And I can definitely forgive myself for not taking this trade because it behaved in this manner. But as I said, it's because I was looking at this ABVE, which behaved very similarly recently, that kind of helped me out on re-entering this trade. So yeah, if I didn't take it, it would be fair enough as well. So yeah, luckily on market open, it respected that risk level just. I would have been so annoyed if it kind of broke that and then went without me. But yeah, it held that level, and then, as you can see, got the big push that I was waiting for. So my first sell was at, actually can't remember, I think it was about 8.70 was my first sell. My best sell was 9.85, pretty nice. And then my average gain was 30%, so I made $17 on this trade. So yeah, pretty cool to see, and kind of pleased with my analysis on this one, and confidence to re-enter even though it broke my risk. So yeah, that's the trade. So full transparency, the next day I went on to take a trade testing out a new strategy, completely lost my head, lost control, and pretty much lost all my gains from that trade. So just a good reminder of where I'm at in my discipline. And normally I'm so disciplined, and just kind of scary to think it can just go in one moment and you lose all concept of risk and safe trading. So I've only done that 3 times in my trading journey, which isn't bad, but if I'm going to be successful at this, I can't be doing that at all. My risk is my risk. So going on to the month of August, I'm a bit reluctant to really say what I'm going to focus on because, you know, last week I was saying how good I am at setting stop losses and risks. And then, you know, that's just gone out the window. So next month, I'm really going to try and focus on my prime setups and just wait for them to come into play and stick to my risk. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and catch you next week.